10 minutes to show that God exists. If you were visiting a hospital with your partner, wife and family, and you had just been told the news that your child, who was only a few months old, had cancer, would you need any proof that there was an afterlife? A better life somewhere else for a child who is completely innocent of this terrible disease? No, of course you wouldn't need any proof. This is one situation where just one reason is more powerful than a mountain of evidence. Unfortunately though, by believing that there must be an afterlife, you have created another problem. You have to automatically assume that there must be some kind of supernatural being running it. It should be self-evident that humans do not run heaven, the kingdom of God, the next dimension of space and time, the extraterrestrial, or whatever else you want to call it. Your own family and your own children are of course precious above anything else at all in the entire universe. If the universe has 400 million billion trillion galaxies, this would still be meaningless compared with the life of one child. But is one powerful reason produced in less than 2 minutes sufficient, particularly when it is the result of emotion? Some would say no, some would say yes. So let me tip the balance a little. Did you know, for example, that in the 1 minute it took you to realise that your child was never going to have a life, 15 more children under the age of 5 had already died of natural disaster, malnutrition or disease elsewhere in the world? This figure is unbelievable. Unfortunately, it is true. You can check it out at the Save the Children website if you wish. Approximately 22,000 children die every day through no fault of their own. So where is justice in all this evil and suffering? Well, of course, justice doesn't exist because humans are helpless to provide any. The problem is unsolvable from a human point of view. We cannot prevent natural disasters or disease, and we have very limited resources to deal with drought and starvation. We also appear to be helpless in preventing war, which causes many thousands more lost lives. Unfortunately, the problem of lost lives doesn't stop there. There are other situations which are also beyond human control, such as miscarriages and stillbirths. And then we go and complicate things even further with things which are within human control, with such things as fertility treatment, abortion, stem cell research and cloning. Science has now advanced so far that we actually don't know when a life is really a life. And if you then decide to go back in time to the beginnings of history and human civilization and start counting all the days and years and multiplying them by our daily figure of 22,000, you have a problem which runs into unknown millions of lost lives. Then the decreasing scale of population must be built into the system, as the further back you go in history, the less people inhabited the planet. But then you must not forget to offset this by the further back you go, the more the world was an increasingly hostile environment, so less and less people survived. All the computers in the world could not calculate the numbers, and I mean calculate the numbers to the nearest and last living soul. If ultimate justice or morality exist, it must account for every soul that has ever lived, half-lived, or not even been born in a biological sense. Anything less does not constitute justice. All this is beyond human control and human endeavour. So is there a solution to this problem? Well, obviously, without some sort of supernatural being, there never will be a solution, as humans cannot solve it, and 10,000 or more years of human history show that humans are helpless in attempting to solve it. So I will present you with 3 solutions involving the supernatural, and you can make up your own mind which makes sense to you. God doesn't exist, and we live in the cruelest possible world with no morality or ultimate justice. God exists and doesn't care, so we still live in the cruelest possible world. God exists and is doing something about it, quite unknown to us and without leaving any evidence. Just to keep things well balanced, here are 3 explanations which do not involve the supernatural. I describe them as explanations as they don't go that one step further by providing a possible solution. As part of the evolutionary process, natural selection shows us that humans are no more than advanced primates. We therefore survive or don't survive by the same process where the weak or less fortunate die, and the stronger and more fortunate survive. It is misleading to apply any emotion or moral values to the situation, as the young that die are at least spared the struggle to survive and die later. And here is the second. The workings of the universe show us that the Earth is the tiniest of planets, on the fringe of a tiny solar system, at the edge of a vast universe with apparently no end. The sun, which provides all energy and life, is a star, and stars do not last forever. As soon as the sun starts its inevitable journey to a supernova, all life on Earth will be permanently extinguished, and the Earth will be reduced to interplanetary dust particles. We began as dust, and will end up as dust. And here is the third. The history of life on Earth stretches back millions of years. During this time, several mass extinctions have taken place due to massive climate change or other natural disasters. But life has never been permanently extinguished and survives at all costs. This pattern will continue for many more millions of years, regardless of what humans do or don't do. But there will come a point in the distant future when the Earth can no longer sustain life or is subject to external forces, such as the sun running out of energy or the beginning of a black hole. There will probably not be sufficient time, energy, fuel or other vital resources to reach any other habitable planet before this irreversible event takes place. From these 6 explanations, only one makes any sense to me. God exists and is doing something about it, quite unknown to us, and without leaving any evidence. If you still find this unbelievable, then think about these words, which Jesus is supposed to have spoken. See that you do not offend one of these little ones, for I tell you that their angels in heaven always see the face of my Father in heaven. If children do not have an afterlife, then why did he say it? He also said this: let the little children come to me, and do not hinder them, for the kingdom of heaven belongs to such as these. Yes, children are different to adults, and they should be a major clue to the existence of an afterlife.